Okay, another question that came up from this video was that we showed the serpent connected to a character in the Bible, characters in the Bible called Seraphim.
They're in the book of Isaiah.
They're in the book of Isaiah.
Yes.
The only time they appear called that.
Correct.
And what they seem to be are what we elsewhere in Scripture would know of as the cherubim.
Correct.
These creatures, animal-like, wings, flying around, protecting God's throne, worshiping God. Isaiah has this vision. He calls them seraphim.
Yep.
And you pointed out that seraphim means snake.
It's the Hebrew word for snake.
It's the Hebrew word for snake.
Correct.
Now, many people have checked into that and said, well, when I look up the word seraphim, snake is a possible translation, but also just the idea of the burning ones is a translation. So are we pushing it too far? Can it just actually mean a burning one and not necessarily a snake? And are we trying to too neatly tie this idea of the serpent in the garden to a spiritual being in God's throne?
So a lot of this is due to confusion about how the Hebrew language works.
Okay.
So maybe just facts on the ground. The Hebrew word seraphim, it's a Hebrew plural noun. The im is a plural. So the noun is just saraf.
Okay.
Saraf. So the noun saraf appears 8 times in the Hebrew Bible. And never once does it refer to a burning creature or a creature on fire. It means snake every single one of those times.
In the Hebrew Scriptures.
In the Hebrew Bible.
Every time.
Yes.
It means snake.
If you look up the word in the standard Hebrew, Aramaic lexicon of the Old Testament, or in the classic Brown Driver Briggs Hebrew lexicon, these are dictionaries of ancient biblical Hebrew. You just look up the word saraf, and the first meaning is snake. And then they give you there's only 8 examples in the Hebrew Bible. It's in Numbers 21, the saraf that bite the Israelites, and then he makes a bronze saraf, Moses does, to go on a staff. Moses talks about the seraphim that bit the Israelites in the wilderness, that same story. In the book of Isaiah, he mentions these seraphim 3 times. One of them is in that vision Isaiah sees. And then in 2 other times, in Isaiah 14 and Isaiah 30, he talks about a flying seraph, a seraph with wings that flies. And it's in poetry, and he's describing a flying snake. He just says it straight up.
It's very clear.
A flying snake, So the flying snakes occur 3 times in the book of Isaiah. But for some reason, our modern translations translate it snake in Isaiah chapters 14 and 30, but they just don't translate it in Isaiah 6.
Snake.
They just spell it with English letters, seraphim. But it is the standard Hebrew word for snake.
Where does this idea of the burning ones come up? Why is that in some dictionaries?
So the Hebrew words are built off of a 3-letter root.
Okay.
The 3-letter root, sin, resh, pe, saraf, appears in a verb, and saraf, and the verb means to set on fire, to burn. There also is a noun built off of that root, serepha, that means like burning.
A burnt thing.
A burnt thing, that's right. So, but the way Hebrew nouns work is they'll build different words off of a 3-letter root. So the reason why these snakes are called seraphim is because they bite and they're poisonous. And I've never gotten a snake bite before. Have you ever been? You've hunted rattlesnakes.
Yeah.
I never have.
Yeah, I've never been bit though.
But it's the sensation of burning, apparently.
Sure.
When you get bit.
Yeah.
So a burning snake makes perfect sense. It's a venomous snake.
Right.
Yeah.
So those ideas are connected.
Correct. Yeah.
So seraph means snake.
Yep.
But as a verb,
it
means burning.
To burn. Yeah.
To burn.
Correct.
And then you said there's a time where it's also used as a noun to mean.
There's a different noun that's not seraphim.
Oh, it's not seraphim.
Serapha, that can refer to burning as a noun.
Okay. But that still begs the question then, why is it that you open dictionary and seraphim, sometimes it says the burning ones? Is that just tradition?
There's no dictionary of biblical Hebrew that I know of that has burning one as a meaning for
there isn't.
the entry of seraphim.
No. Oh, okay. You
No.
look it up in a Hebrew dictionary and it's going to say snake.
Yeah, correct.
Oh.
Some people use a older tool from the 19th century called Strong's Concordance. And I did look that up, and actually here, real quick. Strong's. And the first meaning they give is burning, and then they say figuratively of a poisonous serpent. So even though they say burning at first, they immediately qualify to talk figuratively about burning serpent. So I'm not sure where this idea of the seraphim as burning ones came from, but it's not based on any of the evidence in biblical Hebrew. So it means snake.
So what Isaiah saw...
What Isaiah saw are flying snakes.
Are flying snakes.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't have been an uncommon symbol for him to see.
No, it's actually a very common symbol. Ancient Egypt depicted flying snakes as an icon of creatures surrounding their gods. And actually we have, I included this in the study notes that you can download for this video on our website. But there have been found ancient Israelite clay seals with the names of kings on them and stuff. And they show snakes with wings. There's a snake with 2 wings and a snake with 4 wings. So this was an Israelite icon to talk about the cherubim that surround the divine throne. And, you know, they look like cows, they look like lions, they look like eagles, they look like snakes.
Yeah.
They were always multiform in how they appear. So anyway, that's kind of nerdy Hebrew language, ancient culture.
That's a big
stuff,
category shift for
the flying snake.
For me and for a lot of people.
Correct.
So just it kind of takes a moment to go, really?
Yes, that's right. So what's important in the book of Isaiah especially is that when he uses the noun seraph, one of those other times in Isaiah 14, he's talking actually about the ruler of Babylon, who earlier in the same chapter was described as the one who tried to ascend to God's throne and make his throne above God's throne.
Yeah. So this is a connected image.
Yeah, so Isaiah 14 is actually tracking and linking into the Genesis 3 story and trying to help us see that that snake was a heavenly being that disguised itself to deceive the humans and was actually trying to make a power grab and trying to get the humans to do the same. So Isaiah 14 it's intentional that the word snake appears there in connection with the ruler Babylon, modeled after the Genesis 3 story.
Yeah.